Account takeover attempts, or ATOs, generally target the user login flow. Let's see how Forder can help prevent ATOs while also reducing user friction. First, let's try the happy path. Let's pretend that the end user is Lois Lane, and Lois is attempting to log into her account at Summit Gear to check her loyalty point balance. Great. We can see that Lois has successfully logged in. What's happened here on the back end is that the Summit Gear web application has checked Lois's username and password against their user authentication system, and the username and password were correct. But a correct username and password doesn't necessarily mean that this is Lois. So the Summit Gear web application sent the user context to Forder to get a recommendation as to whether to let the login attempt continue. Forder used its patented machine learning algorithm to compare Lois's user context to its database of more than 1 billion identities, and concluded that this is indeed Lois who's attempting to log in. So Forder issued an approve recommendation. In the real world, the end user would not see the Forder decision, but I'm showing it here for illustration purposes. Let's take a look at what that decision looks like in the Forder portal. I can see the login attempt from Lois, and I can see that Forder approved the login attempt. Now let's see what happens when someone who has stolen Lois's password attempts to log in as Lois. This time, the Summit Gear web application checked the username and password, and again, the username and password were correct. But when Summit Gear sent the user context to Forder, Forder was able to detect that this is not Lois and is showing patterns of known fraudster behavior. So Forder issued a decline recommendation. And again, we can go to the Forder portal to see the details of that transaction. In the real world, Forder would attach a reason to its decision, and you can of course run reports on specific decision reasons. Finally, if your application is using MFA and a rule-based system today to help stop ATO, you're probably issuing a lot of MFA challenges, which can frustrate your users, and you're probably still seeing a significant amount of ATO. However, you can use Forder in concert with your MFA system to challenge only a tiny percentage of users, ensuring that you greatly reduce user friction while also greatly reducing ATOs. Let's see what that looks like. This time, Forder detected something just a little off about the user context, so Forder recommended that Summit Gear challenge this user to satisfy a second factor. Again, with Forder, your end users will see these challenges far less often. I hope these examples have given you a better idea as to how Forder can be a powerful tool in preventing ATO attacks against your end users while also reducing user friction.